time to unveil this very hard soap. Alright, you're going to want to pull the mould out so it comes off the sides. Turn it upside down and it just pretty much falls out. And lift it up. One soap. Now you may have noticed mine has ashed a smidge. The sides are a little bit soft, but that's nothing new with soap. That happens all the time. But you may have noticed that it's got like a kind of a whitish look on the top. That's fairly normal. What it is it's called soda ash, and it's from the lye reacting to the air. There's really not, I mean, you get on the internet and you'll find there's like dozens of reasons why it happens. I can tell you, I can absolutely 100% guarantee you the one reason it doesn't happen is from using tap water, because I have used the exact same recipe using tap water and the exact same recipe using distilled water, and it's still ashed. So it's definitely not your water. So it's up to you. I mean, most people don't care, and you can get rid of it really easy. Put your jug on. When it's steaming, hold your soap over the top like this. When it gets wet, it's gone. You can also just wash your soap, like literally just put it under the tap, give it a wash off like that, and it'll get rid of it. But for now, it's your first soap. Do you really care? You've just made soap. Alright, now, you probably thought the turmeric was going to be a lot more yellow than it is. It's not. But it's got a really cool texture to it, which is why I used it. Now, for cutting your soap, you're going to need a big knife. It doesn't have to be this specific knife. You can use, it doesn't even have to be that big of a knife, really. I mean, you can use just a regular steak knife if you want to, but the bigger the knife, the more likely you are to get straighter cuts. Now, I like to just cut off this rounded end because it's rounded, and I want all my bars to be reasonably similar. Now when it gets to like this, you're not going to want to pull it off. What you want to do is twist it off like that, see? Because that will stop your soap from bending or cracking, and it gives it a smoother finish. Now as you can see, I cannot cut straight to save my life. I no longer cut my soaps by hand. For the purpose of this tutorial, I am cutting this by hand, so please don't judge me. Now, I cut mine about 2.5, about that wide-ish. I don't measure. If you want to, you can go ahead and like measure on this side and go, oh, well, that's where 2.5 is, and then just put, you know, marks on this side, then go through and put marks on this side, and then you can line them up if you know, really want to make it really straight. But I mean, it's your first soap. Does it really matter? Just cut it. So, knife as straight as possible, push straight down. That's it. And there you have your first bar of soap, ladies and gentlemen. Ta-da! Look at that. Pretty amazing, hey? And if you were doing this along with me right now, you should be exceptionally proud of yourself because you've made soap. Yeah, you didn't see that. I'm really strange about the directions of my soap. Now, you will find in your soap, probably, I don't know what the heat is like at your place, if it's a little hot, even if it's not, you may find that your soap has done what's called gelled. Now this one hasn't gelled all the way. If you have a look, you can see how it's quite white on the edges, but then it's got more of a translucent look in the middle. What it is this is heated up, but it's only heated to here, because soap gets really, really hot when it saponifies, and the heat comes from the inside out. And it generally works its way in a ring, so it moves outwards like this. And you will find a lot of times when you make soap that your gel is in a ring, right? Now, it's not anything to worry about. Gelled or not gelled, it doesn't matter. It's still saponified, so it is still soap. It is an aesthetic thing. It makes no difference to your soap whatsoever. They say a gelled soap can make a harder soap. I don't tend to gel and I have really, really hard soap. So it's up to you if you continue on your journey for soap making. Investigate that if it's something that you're interested in. Gelled soap, honestly, it does give a translucent look, whereas you will never get a translucent look without gelling. Personally, I don't like it. I don't try and force the soap to do something that it does or doesn't want to do. This is why I suggested just leaving this on your bench and leaving it alone, because I like soap to do its thing. So yeah, so that's what that is. That's if you have that, and it may not be in the same place as mine, it may be over here, or you may have got a full gel if it's really hot at your place. You may have got no gel at all if it's really cold. And you can hear me talking about temperatures. That's the way to control gel. I mean, if you don't want your soap to gel, you put it in the fridge as soon as you make it, or the freezer. Some people do that. If you do want it to gel, there is ways to do that. You can, when your soap's in its mold, you can wrap it up in blankets so it stays insulated. You can also put it in the oven. Most people that do that tend to turn their oven on while they're making their soap. Then when they're finished, turn the oven off, put the soap in, shut the door, and just go with the ambient temperature in the oven. They don't actually cook their soap. So yeah, but that is it. That, guys, is your soap. Pretty nifty, hey? And you can use this right now if you want to, and I would suggest you do. Not all of it, but take your end piece, because you don't want to give that to anyone, and have a go of it in the sink and see what you think. It'll be lovely. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. In fact, how about I go and use it right now? Alright, got some water here. Look at this. There we go. Put that over there. And there you go. That is what your soap is going to look like. How fantastic is that? Oh, it feels so good, so lovely and creamy. And this is the advantage, because I've used the full recipe now. This one has palm and tallow in it. That's the advantage of this recipe, is you are always going to get a really, really creamy soap. You're not going to get big fluffy bubbles, as you can see. There's no big fluffy bubbles in there, and there won't be. The more you rub, the more it's just going to turn into cream. You will not get big fluffy bubbles. If you want big fluffy bubbles, you're going to have to investigate more and look into recipes that would have a higher content of coconut oil. Castor oil is another good one for bubbles. But this is what your soap will turn out. Not that you're going to stand there and do this. But yeah, the more you rub this one, the creamier it will get. And you'll see that the bubbles are getting smaller and smaller. But that's pretty good for your first soap, don't you think? So yeah, so take one of your... I'll have to wash my hands. Take one of your bars, one of your pieces. Take that end piece, because it's just an end piece. Use it in the sink. Which brings me to my next thing, which is cure. Now, you don't have to let your soap cure. I mean, you know, everyone says, oh, you've got to let your soap cure. Technically, you don't have to let your soap cure. That soap right there is soap. What it hasn't done is cured, which means it hasn't gone on its little water diet and lost weight. Because that's all that curing is. What it is this right now is full of water, because we put that 190 grams of water in it. I think that's about right. Right. So this now needs time to lose all that water weight. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And as it loses the water, it becomes harder. If you take your bar of soap right now and push on the end of it, you'll notice, excuse me, it has some give, okay? What will happen is, as it's curing, yeah, I don't have OCD. as it's curing and it loses its water, it will get harder and harder, and after about 4 to 6 weeks, it depends, sometimes it can be even sooner than that, you'll notice as you push on the sides, it's got less give. So what happens is, if you use this now, because it's still got so much water in it, it will dissolve quicker in the shower. So if you actually went and put this in the shower and used it, you probably notice it'd be gone in a couple of days, because it will dissolve really quickly. But then if you go and if you cut the other end off, don't use it until it's fully cured, you'll notice that that will last longer, because it's cured and doesn't have as much water in it, so it doesn't dissolve as quickly, which is what the curing process is all about. So if you want to use your soap right now, go ahead and use it. Just be aware that it will dissolve fairly quickly in the shower. So that's it. That's all I need to tell you. You're done. Cut the rest of it up. Oh no, that's not everything. To cure your soap, try and find somewhere out of the way, like a shelf on a bookcase, or I don't know, in your linen press somewhere. Probably, although I did used to cure my soap in my linen press. It's best to have somewhere that's got a little bit of airflow. If you put it in your linen press, leave your door open. Do not sit it directly on the shelving. Soap will eat away at wood. It will react with aluminium. Get yourself some baking paper. I have aluminium shelving. I actually use aluminium shelving for my curing rack, but I have a piece of cardboard that the shelving came in, the box off the side, and then a layer of, I actually have a layer of plastic, and then a layer of this, and then I sit them all about this far apart, so about 1 centimetre apart, and I sit them all like that in a row, and leave them sit there for a month, and then it's ready. And you can just give it to friends, you can use it yourself, you can say, hey, I hate this, and throw it in the bin if you really want to. I don't suggest that. I think if you don't like your soap, take it to your local Vinnies. Poor people need soap. But that's it, guys. If you have any, like I said in the other video with the goat's milk soap, if you have any questions, ask. I cannot guarantee that I will answer your questions, but I will try. I read all your comments. So yeah, so if you've just made your first soap along with me, be massively proud of yourself. I mean, you've just made a soap, guys. This is massive. It's awesome. And not only that, you made a drop swirl soap, which looks really cool. Drop swirls are, you know, that's an advanced method. Good for you. You've done well. Alright, if you want to make this soap again, use the same recipe. You don't have to worry about measuring things out. You can just use the exact same ingredients. It's fine. If you want to use a different additive to get a different colour other than the turmeric, go for it. Just do the same method and just use something else. A paprika makes a really nice colour. You can get green tea powder, makes really nice. Spirulina is another one that makes a good green, although spirulina will fade over time. A lot of natural additives will fade over time. If you want to buy some mica, which is what this is, that's mica. It's a very fine coloured powder made out of iron oxides and whatnot. I will have a link of where to buy mica. If you want to buy fragrance oils, I will leave a link for you to buy fragrance oils, but I'm going to suggest, you've got a bottle of this now, use it up. Don't leave it sit there, use it up. Make a couple more soaps. If you'd want to, you don't have to. I'm not saying you have to make soap, and you're not going to listen to me anyway. I'm not the boss of you. But yeah, just you get in there and make some. If you enjoyed this process, do it again. Do it the same, do it different. Just don't be scared to try. I mean, if you stuff it up, what's the worst that can happen? you have to throw it in the bin. Big deal. You know, if you can make 2 soaps, 3 soaps out of what you bought, each soap's going to cost you, what, $5 or something. It's $5 if it, you know, if it stuffs up, it doesn't matter. Just don't be afraid to play, because soap making, honestly, if you become unafraid of it and just do it just for the pure love of it, it will reward you. It's a very, very rewarding thing to be able to make a bar of soap. Well, that's a loaf of soap. That's a bar of soap. To be able to make this, take it and use it and know that you're not putting any chemicals on your skin, that you can give this to your friends and they're not putting any chemicals on their skin, and you know that you're helping the environment. So, what's not to love? Plus, when you love it and don't stress out about it, it really is such a zen thing to do, making soap. So, alright. Happy soaping, people. Enjoy. Bye.